Hey, howdy and hello, folks. Welcome back into T1A. I'm Tank. That's Cranny. Today we are covering our QB tiers for redraft. 6 point per passing touchdown. This should be a great one. Let's get into it.
Should be a good show today. We got preseason football kicking off this weekend. Fuck that Hall of Fame game. That doesn't even count. It's a glorified high school football game. So the real game has started kicking off. We're starting to get some action, starting to see some players out there. It is time. It is time to start putting out information on where we've got these quarterbacks tiered out. That way, when you're in your drafts and you are eyeballing this shit up, you can take some of this information we've got on you and find the values in the rounds of the guys that we think are going to be badasses, and maybe some guys that we think suck that you don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to just kind of stumble our way through this and see how it pans out in the long run. Tank, how do you really want to get going on this, man? You just want to blast out your tier?
Let's start at tier 1, and then we'll talk a little bit about our differences and go from there.
I can live with that. Let's do it that way.
Yeah. So tier 1, who we have the same so far: Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Where I have it just a little different, I have Hurts in that first tier. You don't.
Yeah, I just have a tough time putting him up there. I mean, 13 rushing touchdowns last year, and I know they've got the unstoppable play where they just shove Jalen Hurts into the end zone. I get it. Yeah, I get it. I get it, right? Like, there's high opportunity that happens again. I'm just not going to bet on it. I'm also not going to bet on this offense all of a sudden coming out and trying to throw the ball 40 times a game and whatnot. I know they've got the talent. I know Jalen Hurts could do it. I just don't see the volume being there for Jalen Hurts to become a top tier quarterback. I see Jalen Hurts is right underneath that. I know last year he was the third overall quarterback finished as, but I don't see him repeating that. I see him coming back a little bit off of that. I see other guys maybe stepping up into there. We'll get a little more into that as I go along, but I don't see him being able to have the ability to take that next step and repeat as a quarterback 3 or higher next year. Especially because, and we talked about this, that defensive line they've got there in Philly is fucking ridiculous. They get up by 10 points, and they are going to run the ball and get the hell after the quarterback with those guys. I just have a tough time seeing Hurts be able to repeat what he did last year plus, and you're paying that premium right now in drafts for him.
Well, and that's where I see just the difference of his efficiency still being there, having Goddard back, having more in that running back room, having Swift there, Rashad Penny, and not just Miles Sanders, Gainwell, Boston Scott. So I think that they're going to have just that little bit more rushing, still going to have Hurts being able to be a mobile rushing quarterback, and just enough to keep him in that top tier. That's where I'm sitting with him. He's just enough to stay there in the elite. It could very much just fall off quick because it doesn't take much to be in that elite tier to go down to this next one.
Yeah, it's not... I'm not going to argue with anybody and go back and forth and fight with you until I'm red in the face over Jalen Hurts not being one of those top quarterback finishers this year. I'm just, as I looked at it and as I'm analyzing the players and where the stats are going to come from, he just drops a tier for me. That's all. But I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go back and forth with somebody on it because there's a high probability that he could do it again.
And we were talking a little bit before we recorded here, and one of the things that we talked about is touchdown regression. I don't think he's going to have 13 rushing touchdowns again. That's a ridiculous number to hit.
Yeah.
And, thinking more realistically, 8, that's still 5 less. That's 30 points less. That could just drop him that tier. So, that's that threshold where he could, be in that top elite tier, and he could be in that second one. So it's not far off to have him in either one.
Even that flip side of it, because we're talking about 6 point per passing touchdown, one quarterback leagues, even on the flip on that, say he doesn't throw for or have 13 rushing touchdowns, he has 7. So there's your 6 drop. He can easily throw for 31 touchdowns. That's the up and down in where Jalen Hurts is at. And the opportunity is there. The volume is there potentially. It's if he's not going to have all the rushing, he's going to have to make it up in passing. And I just don't think the offense is that way. Yeah. And then we got to, we've talked about Burrow already in the past on the show. He's our consensus number 1 overall quarterback for the year. So, of course, we're going to put him here at the top and go from there. No offense to Patrick Mahomes and dropping him back, but Josh Allen getting healthy from the elbow problem he had, Diggs is pissed off, and I'll take a pissed off Diggs. I think he's going to be
off receivers.
Yeah,
Love them.
exactly. And then Gabe Davis, of course, the perennial wide receiver 3 for those guys, but he always comes up with big plays. He's coming in healthy. He's actually still really, really, really young. Coming into his 4th year. And then Kincaid, we've talked about Kincaid, the Hulk version of Cole Beasley coming in there, right? He's going to come out there and Hulk mode his ass and just get nasty in those seam routes. All the stuff that Cole Beasley was doing for Josh Allen in the past is now a more, I don't want to say more athletic. That doesn't seem right, but a guy
that's correct. More athletic. Yeah.
A guy that size that is that athletic is more of a weapon, in my opinion, than Cole Beasley. So, and they bringing in Damian Harris and Latavius Murray. I like that for Josh Allen because they're showing that maybe they're willing to maybe start turning around, give the ball off a little bit.
Protect him just a touch.
Yeah, just a touch. We say it every fucking year. One of these times it's going to happen, I hope. But still a guy, he's been a QB1 overall already. He's a fucking dominant player. If you get him in your drafts, you're not going to be upset.
Allen's been a QB1 twice.
Yeah, and the only reason I've dropped Mahomes back a little bit on this, it's the same thing that we were saying last year. It's like you don't have Tyreek again. You're still going with a mishmash of players. At some point, Travis Kelce is going to find a year where he does not ball the hell out completely, totally, insanely. Last year, he had career highs in all kinds of fucking stats. Don't see that happening again this year, which then that's going to affect Pat. So you got to drop Pat back a little bit, but no disrespect. Again, these are all guys that we're
not enough
to
drop them out of the top tier at all.
Yeah, these are all guys we're talking about right now. They're fucking elite, and I don't think you're going to be too upset in your drafts if you end up drafting Burrow, Allen, or Pat.
We're looking at one QB. These guys are second, third round picks. I wouldn't be shocked if you see Mahomes or one of these guys go into the first round.
Yeah, I think Pat's been going mostly early second, but still good value on all these guys. Just make sure if you're drafting one of them in that fucking spot. Jesus H Christ, that's
don't overreach.
Yeah.
All right, tier 2. You have and I have Lamar and Justin Herbert the same. I have Tua in there, and so do you. We different on who do we differ on? Oh, that's where you have Hurts and I have Justin Fields. So we already talked about Hurts, just not making that upper echelon for you. And for me, Fields rushing, seeing some more progressive passing attempts, better passing targets, more involved in his 3rd year as a quarterback. I just see him stepping into that next level with some of his rushing upside to keep him up there.
Yeah, my differ in Fields, and I've just got him a tier down, so it's like I have him very far off. My difference in Fields is that I need to see you get the passing yards, and only throwing for 2,200 yards last year. That's fuking insane.
Yeah, and running for 1,200.
Yeah, and I get it. Everybody's saying that, always going to do the Hurts kind of bounce back thing, and he's on that path. And there's no guarantee to that. Just because it's happened with one guy doesn't mean it's going to happen with another guy. It did bring in DJ Moore. That's nice. Chase Claypool apparently is pissed off at camp. We like pissed off wide receivers, but it's still Chase Claypool.
And he's already hurt.
And Cole Kmet, he showed out in touchdowns last year. That doesn't mean that he can't do it again this year. And if Fields is going to progress, Kmet's going to have to be a part of that. I just think that you still find you found that balance with where Fields is right now, and he's actually going to have to prove it to me. He can take the 1,200 yards and the 2,200 passing yards and either do better at running, which would be fucking crazy, or get better at passing, or those stats are going to just continue to balance each other out, right? Instead of 1,200, he's just going to have 800 yards rushing and throw for 3,000 yards. And that keeps him at QB9 and whatnot, so that to me puts him at a lower tier. But if you feel that he is actually going to progress this year and this is the year he's going to make the jump, then yes, go ahead and go and draft him. And to be fully honest, even with me having him at tier 3, I've still been taking him in the 5th round of single quarterback leagues because I think he's a value there because you're going to get that rushing floor and then the passing that can come with that. But like I said, I'm not going to go reaching any higher up for him. I'll take him at the value he's at right now in the 5th round and take those 1,200 and 2,200 passing, and then anything extra is just sprinkles and cherries, man.
Fantastic. And that's where we also have Lamar as the same, and we have Tua the same in here, and Herbert.
Yep.
So let's start with Lamar. Everybody's super excited about super passing offense. He's, we were talking about just a little bit ago. It's going to limit his rushing. He's going to be, more passing, and I very much agree with your take on it that it's going to open up to still being able to let him rush because the plays will break down, or he doesn't see somebody open, and he's just going to take it.
Yeah, I don't foresee his rushing going down. And we talked about
Not
it also.
drastically, at least.
Yeah, and Greg Roman's offense, he did not run the ball on design run plays. That was not where he got his rushing stats from. I mean, there were plays they called, but
yeah, there's
a small percentage. Such a small percentage that it really wasn't where he was getting his rushing yards from. It was from broken pass plays in Greg Roman's offense. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting to see what happens in Monken's offense is, does Lamar learn how to check the ball down? Does he learn how to take what the defense is giving him and get that little out route, that quick dig route, that stop route, that dump off to JK, quit trying to go downfield and get the 10, 15 yards and just take what the defense is giving you and let your players do it.
And that's, I don't think QB maturation that you hope for by now.
You would hope, but he's also like the face of the franchise, and he is who he is, and he's been doing what he does because that's the player he is. And I don't foresee that just falling off. They could try to. I mean, I'm sure everybody's been trying to teach him that's been there. Even John Harbaugh is trying to teach him how to just fucking get rid of the ball. Or he could touch 1,000 yards rushing, right? But a low floor to me, it would be like 750, right? I don't think it's going to be any lower than that. And then now add in, like, they're going to pass the ball more, right? They're not going to run the ball 60%, 70% of the time. Instead, now they're going to flip those around, and now we're going to run the ball 30, 40% of the time. And Lamar's going to get more chances to use his arm and use all those nice, neat little cute weapons he's got around him now. OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman coming back. We've talked about JK. Andrews, like, he has so many weapons around him that he has a high potential to be the quarterback one overall again. And to me, like, that's what all these guys were talking about. The guys that we have all have the potential to be a QB1
This tier overall. 2 is just that little bit away.
Yeah. They've all shown something where you're just like, I can't put them in the elite tier.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah. And then we can talk about Herbert and Tua probably really quick here. I think both these guys in prolific offenses with prolific weapons around them. And
especially in 6 point per passing touchdown. Passing volume is going to be what they rely on, their teams rely on.
Yeah.
It's all predicated on that. You even look at the running backs. Most of them are receiving running backs, or that's how their running back room is situated. It's just going to be all speed guys.
Yeah, and I like the funny thing about both these guys is their seasons last year were deterred by injury, both directly and indirectly.
Yeah,
Herbert indirectly when Keenan Allen went down, and he struggled all last year with hamstrings and all that kind of stuff.
Herbert had not a fractured rib, but like torn cartilage in his ribs.
Right, and then
Tua, we all know, had the brain scramblies.
Yeah, the brain scramblies. But yeah, Herbert missing so many guys on offense and just struggling through, and then dealing with his own injury, and then Tua with the fucking brain scramblies. And then they had injuries on the offensive line to deal with last year too, but they still rated out as one of the top offensive lines last year. But yeah, Tua dealing with the brain scramblies, Herbert dealing with the fucking ribs, and all the fucking players getting hurt.
Mike Williams was out. Yep.
Yeah,
Everett missed the game. Yeah.
If these guys get healthy seasons from their players, and I loved that the Chargers drafted Quentin Johnston because of the fact that Keenan Allen's getting older and he may be falling back into his injury-prone status like he was early in his career. Mike Williams has always been injury-prone, and so now you have a big-ass wide receiver. He's just prototype of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams mixed as an NFL wide receiver, and you got him drafted now there to help out. Eckler has actually stayed really healthy, but like at some point the cliff's coming with that guy, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, at some point.
Just that efficiency that he's had so far, it's unsustainable.
Yeah, like 20 more fucking touchdowns again. That's just I mean, I get it. Like there's still like, are you really gonna, if I'm a betting man, somebody says think Eckler scores 20 touchdowns, how much would you put on it? And I'm like, right. There's a hard to put a number on it that you're comfortable with saying yes or no to. Because he could easily do it. So you don't want to be like $5 says yes.
What's the return?
Yeah,
because it doesn't seem like it's going to be too outlandish for him to get it. So you can't have great like betting props on it. But
exactly.
So definitely see some weapons at every level for both guys as well.
Yeah, got to bring in Kellen Moore too because I don't think we really said much about that. Yeah, Kellen Moore coming to LA for the Chargers and for Justin Herbert is going to be huge. I think
you had a phenomenal stat of what Kellen Moore added to Dak when he went there.
Oh, yeah. So when Kellen Moore got to Dallas and became the offensive coordinator in Dallas, and I can't tell you the number on what Dak's average yards passing per game was, but over the time that Kellen Moore was there, he put 40 more yards a game on Dak's average. Now, what's Herbert's average per game? I know that number, actually. It's 280. 280 yards per game. If Kellen Moore follows suit with what he was able to do with Dak, you're looking at 320 yards on average from Justin Herbert, passing yards in a game.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That pushes him right into that top tier.
That's huge.
If he can get that.
And the beauty of it, too, that Colt McCoy video I shared with you, dude. Did you get a chance to watch that?
No, not yet.
Holy shit, watch it, because I guarantee you'll move Herbert into tier 1. It just it gives you a hard on for the guy. But Kellen Moore's offense fits to how Justin Herbert plays, and I think that's another thing that you shouldn't overlook. The price tag on Justin Herbert is pretty low right now in 1QB leagues, and it's worth taking him around where there's a couple of the quarterbacks around him. I can't fucking think of who it is. I want to say Lamar's around him somewhere in there. He might be going around later, something like that, but don't be afraid. And then, do we have to really talk too much about Tua? I mean, fucking Tyreek, Waddle, A-Chain, all kinds of fucking speed around him.
Yeah, it's just a track meet down in Miami.
Yeah, and Tua's playing point guard.
Yeah, well, and whoever they want to throw to, you have to worry about them just busting it off.
We just mixed track, basketball, and football, baby. We do it all.
We do it all.
Let's move on.
Touchdown.
Let's move on to tier 3 here.
Gotta get them
tier 3. I got Watson, Cousins, Trevor, and Dak.
Yep.
Tank has those same guys. This is where I put Fields at. We talked about that already. In this tier, Tony's got a little bit bigger tier than I do here.
I do. I have Aaron Rodgers and Geno in there. And that's kind of based on Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's there to prove something in New York. He got to bring a couple of his boys with him, Lazard and Cobb, which aren't going to be really big factors. But having Garrett Wilson, which he's already compared slightly, he rescinded the comment a little bit after he said it, but he's like Devontae Adams, but not quite there yet. But it's still pretty disgusting of what he can do. McCole Hardman, we all seen what he can do on the field, which is not much, but with what he's doing already to that offense, and I don't know if you watched Hard Knocks or not, but there's already a swagger that's going on in the Jets, and that's what I love to see, because he's bringing a swagger to a team, and that's just going to come onto the field.
So one thing I was noticing when I was looking through our tiers is that once we get to tier 3, we've basically got our top 12 quarterbacks.
Yep.
You have a couple more guys in there that you think could sneak in. Where what I did was when I put my tiers together, my first 3 tiers were 12 quarterbacks, and that was to me felt like, okay, here you go. That's
your
first
top
3
12.
tiers. Yeah, these are my top 12, kind of like these are guys. Now I had more guys in tier 3, and I had Aaron and Geno there. As a matter of fact, they're just in the tier below. I just had question marks around those guys, and so what I did was I basically said, hey, look, these are the guys I think are going to be the quarterback 12s. Or the quarterback 12s, the quarterback 1s in fantasy, the top 12 guys.
And that's where you cut it off there.
Yeah, sort of. Because I was looking at it, I was like, okay, tier 4, though. But these are the guys I think that they've got a good shot to be QB 1s, but they're just something changed, right? Or they had a bust-out year. Geno, a bust-out year. Rodgers moved to the Jets. Russ shit the bed last year. I don't want to buy in so much into Peyton.
He had the COVID shits all over that.
Yeah, so I'm jumping ahead to my 4th tier, but I wanted to do that because I want to say that Rodgers and Geno could easily be in my next tier and also be in the grouping of hey, these guys are QB1, so in a one quarterback league, those are the guys. Go after these guys because they all have the opportunity to get there. Now, with that said, I still think Rodgers has a really good chance. It's not like he's going to the Jets, whole new system, all this, no, it's not. Nathaniel Hackett's there.
Nathaniel Hackett, they're bringing that offense back to them.
Yeah, he's 1 year removed from playing under Nathaniel Hackett. Hackett just shit the bed. Peyton called him out on it. That team is pissed off. No, I haven't watched Hard Knocks because, like I've said, I don't like watching the first couple preseason games. I rarely watch preseason. I usually just go off stats, snap counts, shit like that. I will watch a couple games when there's guys that I know I want to see. But I'm pretty good at knowing who I am. And I'm the kind of guy that could watch a dude one-hand a ball, fall in love, and fuck it all up because I go overpay for the dude in fantasy football. I'm that guy, and I know
I got to go draft him. I got to go pick him up free agent.
I'm that guy, and I know it. And I strongly suggest that if you feel like you're that kind of a person, don't fucking watch preseason football, or at least wait a week before you watch it.
Especially if you're a strong homer on your team.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't watch your team in preseason.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Rodgers, I think he still does have a really good chance. He's got that dog in him. Garrett Wilson is a fucking beast. They brought in Lazard to do what he does, be a wide receiver too. They made sure like that running back room has so many bodies in it that are capable bodies. And Rodgers doesn't need a lot. He doesn't need a badass running back behind him. They got Breece Hall in the waitings. So they've got a great stall of running backs to keep that running game going until Breece gets there. And then Breece is going to be just an absolute weapon because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can take pressure off Rodgers. Rodgers can check to the run and feel comfortable giving him the ball. Like, yes, I think he could be in this higher tier. I had to bring him down because of the switch. Going to New York. I mean, Rodgers is a great guy, but he's getting kind of fucking weird. Yeah. And so I don't know if the switch to the New York media.
He still has a beautiful touch, though.
Yeah, the New York media thing, like, I don't know. The whole thing just has me saying this might be the year that Rodgers just falls right outside of that QB1 tier.
And very likely.
I like your buy-in to Geno, putting him up in there too. Like, he had a great year.
Yeah, we're not expecting him to go QB5 again.
Yeah, maybe not.
Be honest with that. Like that was an outlier.
Okay,
him coming off the bench, coming in QB5 the next year.
Niner fan, the Niner fan, man, will support a little bit of Geno. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing changed.
He's getting the same weapon.
He's getting the same offense back. Added JSN. Added Charbonnet, who I'm not a big fan of Charbonnet, but like he's going to be another weapon for them. It's not DJ Dallas running the ball behind him. Now it's Zach Charbonnet, who's probably a little more talented. Yeah. Nothing got worse around Geno. Everything got a little bit better. The defense even is going to get a little bit better. Like, this is a decent team on the rise. This is coming from a Niner fan. I wish I didn't have to say this shit. I wish I was saying they were in a tank and Geno sucks and what he did last year was fucking phenomenal and an outlier. But there's still a good chance that Geno is going to be a quarterback one this year.
Yeah.
I just can't fucking do it.
Right. Well, and that offense really is right now predicated on passing and run balance.
Yeah.
So they need that play action run to help with their offense. That helps with the big shots. And then they got another guy that's JSN that can take more intermediate routes and balance out what they lack in the tight end. So that's where JSN is really going to come into a nice niche for them because, Lockett can take big plays, DK can take big plays, and that's not what they're going to ask of JSN. So this just helps Geno in the short game as well. Not saying that JSN can't take the long ball and deep, but that's not where they really need him.
I was going to say that they've been saying in practice that he doesn't look slow on the field, and I guess he's been running by dudes. Yeah, that just because he's a fucking great route runner. I'm bummed that we're going to have to play JSN twice a year. And then we'll touch.
Let's look at everybody else that we have in this third tier. We also have Kirk Cousins.
Love Cousins this year.
Yeah,
he's another guy. Didn't lose much. Didn't lose much. Added Jordan Addison. Lost Dalvin Cook. People could rave about that, but I think that the duo they have there of Madison, Chandler, and McBride is going to be plenty to.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not what that offense is going to be predicated on. It's going to be focused on passing.
They're going to fuck the shit out of that ball.
And they now have what I would see as 4 great targets: Justin Jefferson, Addison, Hawk. And I think Osborne's still a viable target.
Yeah, Osborne's my guy this year. Like nobody's worried about him right now, and there's no reason to be worried about him. But Jordan Addison has to overtake him on that offense, right? And if you remember, Justin Jefferson took 6 weeks to get his shit together his rookie year. And I'm not saying Jordan Addison's going to take 6 weeks and then blow the fuck up, but KJ Osborne isn't right. He's no fucking pussy. Addison's gonna have to go out there and fight KJ Osborne.
He's not Justin Jefferson having to overcome BC Johnson to get to have position.
Exactly. Yeah, KJ Osborne's been there. KJ Osborne progressing. We'll come off of that anyway. That's a whole other fucking episode. But yes,
save that for another time.
Cousins has weapons all around him, an aggressive young head coach who is an ex-quarterback that's going to want to go after teams.
Yep.
Cousins to me is like one of them sleeper guys this year. You get. I just can't take him where he's going at right now.
Yeah,
he's going so early in drafts that it's, especially in super flex drafts. I know we're talking one QB right now, but in super flex drafts, he's going in the third fucking round. I just can't.
That's too early for me.
Yeah, I can't. I'd rather go on some of my lower tiers and take him.
Well, let's look Deshaun Watson. Yeah,
that's where I was going. Watson.
Yeah,
the big question mark around Watson is the 6 games he put up and looked like absolute dog shit. And you can't tell me any fucking different. They added Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman, DPJ's healthy. Amari Cooper's going to be who Amari Cooper is. Kareem Hunt is out the door, and it is the Nick Chubb show now.
And Njoku.
I will be interested. I was going to kind of bring up Njoku, but he freaks me the shit out. He freaks me the shit out a little bit, too. I want to talk about that.
He is something dynamic in that offense that could be something.
True.
Could be. And that's why I think that Watson's in this tier.
I think this team gets back to its roots a little bit and realizes, like, hey, look, yes, we're paying our quarterback a shit ton of fucking money, but we don't need to just go out and be like, hey, Deshaun, win us fucking football games. We need to go out as a team and win football games. So I think this team gets back to its roots. It starts running the ball more, starts being more efficient with drives as an overall view, rather than just trying to go out there and call a pass play every fucking time and expect Deshaun Watson to pick teams apart. I don't think he's going to be that guy even yet. So when he comes in, like you're saying, all those weapons, and this is where I want to talk about Njoku on this one. All those weapons around him. He's got all those layers of the field to manipulate, right? Amari Cooper runs great deep routes. He's a deep threat, big play wide receiver. DPJ is kind of the same build. Elijah Moore in that underneath scoop, scat back kind of underneath shit he's going to be doing. And Njoku's kind of like the wild card on that team. What I'm interested to see is if they implement Njoku, and I'm not talking to where like he has to be seeing targets or he has to be putting up points. That's what scares me about Njoku is there's so much other talent around him that he may get lost in the wash of getting linebackers moved and safety sucked in to get these other wide receivers, these other bigger weapons on the outside open and getting the ball to those guys. That's the only thing that freaks me out about Njoku. Now, if Watson takes that step and starts getting back to what he was, I don't think he's seen a complete team like this around him since he was playing with Hopkins and Fuller in Houston. And even then, I still think the team is better.
They had, David Johnson at first?
I don't think David Johnson was in Houston at that point.
Okay.
And I can't remember.
I'd have to look. Yeah,
I can't remember if Arian Foster played with Deshaun Watson. I think that may have been too fucking long ago. After him being on,
anyway,
it was all history. Anyway, Watson has that in front of him. Like, he has all the weapons around him. He has a good run game. He has the best offense probably put in front of him that he's ever been on. And it's going to come down to him. And I think mentally, the dude was going through some shit for a couple years. And I'm not condoning anything that happened with him. I'm not even commenting on that. I'm just saying, if you were a human being in that situation and that was going on in your life, your head would be fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, not saying what he did was right or wrong.
He was also removed from football. Yeah. So not being in there, not doing preseason, not doing off-season stuff, not being with the team, it makes a big factor.
And that when that's been your whole life since you were, 5 is when these guys start playing fucking pee-wee ball or whatever shit. So when that's been your whole life and that gets taken away from you for 2 years, your head's going to be a little fucked up. Yep. And you come back in and the first fucking game you come play is against the team that you got fucking booted off of. What a mind fuck for this guy last year. I think those 6 games should have been expected. And anything above that,
I would consider those as his preseason playing against NFL, first team defenses.
Yeah. I don't think I thought that he was going to come out in those 6 games and do shit.
Yeah.
But I do love the fact that people are kind of sleeping on that because he still has all the talent. He still has all the talent around him.
And he's 27, 28?
Yeah, 27, 28, somewhere in that fucking range. So, yeah.
So he's still a young quarterback.
Okay. Jesus Christ, we were dragging on. Oh, not really.
Yeah.
I guess 30 minutes.
No, we're doing good.
Yeah, and we're getting halfway through.
So we also have Dak and Trevor. So Trevor, he's on that threshold of could have another good year. I don't see really much regression happening, especially with adding Ridley to the team and Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's really even much to move him up. No really reason to move him down. So this is kind of the tier where he was at, where he finished last year. And I think it's going to be kind of on par of where he's going to sit again this year.
Yeah, I agree. There are people saying that he might make that jump. And it
could. Yeah, but very much like you've been saying, you got to show me.
Yeah, a lot has to happen for that to happen. That means Calvin Ridley has to come back and be Calvin Ridley that we used to know. That
Right.
means Christian Kirk needs to do what he did last year again. That means Zay Jones needs to be able to do what he did again last year again.
And Ingram.
That means Evan Ingram has to stay healthy and do again what he did last year again. And that means that
and then they're also forecasting, ETN to really jump up and be something more prolific.
Yeah, and I think people should look more into where Jacksonville drafted Tank Bigsby. It was early. And where he fits in that offense, and maybe start to understand that maybe Travis Etienne in the NFL isn't as good as a pass catcher as he was in college. Because he taught himself how to do it. It wasn't a natural thing. It wasn't part of his game when he went to Clemson.
I love the report that's out there that he said that he's kind of afraid to catch the ball. What? What?
I mean, I guess I get it. I remember my senior year, we played Centralia in high school. And I ran this like quick little slant stop, right? Just a stick route, basically, just find the open spot. And I found the open spot. And I stood there for what felt like forever with my hands out, ready to catch a ball. Like, I'm fucking open. Throw me the ball, man. And our quarterback threw me the ball. Finally, the ball was high, so I had to jump to grab the son of a bitch. And I got my leg clipped out from underneath me by the linebacker and landed on my ass. I was so pissed off because it was like, why did I have to take that fucking hit? I was so mad because I like hitting. That's why I play defense. I don't like getting hit, right? Especially when you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
Right? You're focused. I got to catch this ball and then whack.
Got to get the ball.
Yeah.
Gotta get the ball.
That shit hurts. It hurts. So I go back to the huddle. I don't say shit. And they call another play. And this play, I'm supposed to run just a straight stop route, right? 10-yard stop. So I run this stop route. Beautiful stop route, especially because my ass is killing me because I just landed on it from 10 feet in the fucking air, it felt like. Quarterback throws me the ball. And I'm at this point, I know where everybody is. I know the safety's already barreling down on me. I fucking turned and let that ball go by me. The reason that play stands out so much is because it was right in front of the sidelines, right in front of my head coach, and the head coach looked at me and said, "Cranny." I said, "What?" He said, "Why didn't you catch that ball?" I said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm done." And he said, "Get off. You're done." I was like, "Goddamn right. About fucking time. Gonna play safety, and that's it." So I get it. I get it. He's maybe a little bit afraid. Probably got popped by a fucking linebacker we didn't need to be, and maybe now he's afraid.
I think we should move on to Dak here because there's nothing that's really changed for Dak except for losing Kellen Moore, which I don't think is going to be a super big hit. It's not going to be like, all right, he's going to drop down to the QB 20 now because he doesn't have that offensive coordinator.
I got something to bring up on that then. It's, by what we've said, it's 40 yards less a game.
Yeah.
Start there.
Which is also why he's not in that top.
Why he's not a tier 3 guy.
But yeah, that's why I've definitely been fading Dak, as this offseason's progressing. Like, yeah, Gallup's going to be there. He's going to be good. He's coming a year removed from his ACL. They've got Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is in his 10th, 12th, 13th season.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's been around.
Probably not there that long, but it seems like he's been around for a long time. So at some point, he slows down a little bit, and he was a speedster type guy. What else are you expecting out of this offense? They've changed their tight end over. They've got Pollard and not much else in that backfield. So where are these targets going to go? How is that offense going to move? And I just don't have that confidence in Dak to be super elite. And saying all this now, I need to drop him a tier.
I'm going to leave him right the fuck where I've got him at, and that's actually as the QB 12. I think losing Schultz isn't going to be such a huge loss. I think Ferguson steps in just fine, and if you're doing the averages on it, the addition of Cooks actually is better. Like, you can lose Schultz, replace him with Ferguson, and then adding Cooks to me makes that offense better. So now you've got Cooks, Lamb, Gallup. Cooks just as a veteran wide receiver, a savvy vet coming in there, and he's going to be able to play in the slots, he's going to play outside. He'll open up wherever Gallup can go. I really expect this offense to look different, and not noticeably different because you know that Mike McCarthy had some touch on Kellen Moore in that offense.
Yeah, it wasn't just Kellen Moore's offense.
Yeah,
it's
but
the head coach always has some information.
I do think a lot of that offense, some of the adaptations they made, the way how they were throwing the ball, the routes they were running, the combinations they ran, a lot of that was Kellen Moore. So Mike McCarthy's offense, though, is really going to accentuate Tony Pollard. And I think it's why they were okay letting go of Dalton Schultz, is because that offense isn't predicated around a tight end being super athletic. And that's why they brought in Brandon Cooks, because I think you're going to see more 3 wide receiver sets. You're going to see CeeDee Lamb sneak back into the slot and have Gallup and Cooks out. And I think they're going to accentuate their best players in the offense, which is what Mike McCarthy always did. It's why Jordy Nelson, it's why Devontae Adams were always high-end guys. It's why Aaron Jones always had really, really good seasons when Mike McCarthy would fucking use him. And it's why guys like Jamal Williams were successful in that offense.
Well, and that's something that I was going to bring up is you're going to see those 3 wide receivers interchange, because not one of them has to be an X, not one of them has to be the slot, and they can all play at all positions.
Yeah, they're going to.
You're going to move them around. They're going to try to find advantages. So yeah, they're going to have receivers with good games. So I worry about Lamb and his upper threshold. I don't think he sees the same amount of targets and volume and stuff that he did last year, because it's going to be spread out just a touch more.
Could be. Still your best players, man, and like that.
Oh yeah, no, I still see him getting the biggest target share, but it's just eating in just a touch more to bring him down.
We'll have to see.
So let's move on to our tier 4 here. I mean, we could talk for hours just on all these guys. So
these will go a little quicker because we don't have so much.
Tier 4, the guys that we have the same: Derek Carr, Jared Goff, and Danny Dimes, a.k.a. Daniel Jones, for those who don't know who Danny Dimes is.
Fall from grace.
And then the other guys that you have in there that I didn't, you have Aaron Rodgers, Russ, and Geno.
Yeah, we talked about Rodgers and Geno so far. We'll talk about Carr, Goff, and Danny Dimes as kind of a whole, in my opinion. Danny Dimes is a fall from grace for me because son of a bitch, like add anything. And the only thing you add is Jalen Hyatt to that offense.
They added 16 slot wide receivers. That's all they got.
Yeah, go make a fucking move. Go get an alpha wide receiver for this team, for Danny Dimes to throw the ball to for the next 4 fucking years. And no, instead you had Jalen Hyatt, and you're hoping that Darren Waller can do what he did when he was 28 years fucking old.
I know that's not this coaching regime, but the last time that they tried to reach and bring in an elite wide receiver was Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, but I mean that's like I'm talking.
They're still paying him, but there was players out there.
Yeah, you were looking at a wide receiver class that you could have gotten guys. You could have built a wide receiver room out of just this rookie class and probably been okay with it. But no, instead you just go get just fucking Jalen Hyatt or at Darren Waller. That's it.
Traded for DJ Moore.
You damn near shit the bed and fucked up the Barkley thing. Why he gave in and got the contract from you that he did blows my fucking mind. But
could have got D-Hop. Like there were players.
There's guys they could have went and got. They could have gotten. So, and in our previous shows, I had Danny Dimes, I believe, as my quarterback 12, maybe 11, somewhere in that range.
He was right on that threshold.
I predicated it though with put the asterisk by it and said if they don't add anything, this kid is going to drop in my fucking ranks. And here we are. He has dropped out of my lower ranks.
Rushing keeps him in this talk, but I really think Goff and Carr have solid seasons, even though Carr moved to a new team. That team's set up to be a decent passing offense, coordinated with what he does best, which is the deep ball. And so they're going to throw the ball. They're going to have a run-balanced offense. He's going to be able to check it down. He's not a rushing quarterback. So Kamara, Jamal Williams, everything that they have on that team is all ready to be a good passing offense on top of a solid defense.
Yeah, these guys we're talking about here, they're guys that we think are going to be right at that QB 13, 16 range, somewhere in that area, right?
Yep.
And that's where Carr and Goff, these guys live in that area. They've been in the same situations. Carr's had a talented offense that's pass heavy before in the past, and still a quarterback too. Goff, same shit. It's had talent around him, pass heavy offenses, still a quarterback too. It's just what these guys are.
Yep.
But they're the higher end of that because they are repetitive. They've done it year after year after year after year. They've got
they efficiently run an offense.
Yeah, they've got good offenses
which
around them.
means their offense can run. They can, pass. So
yeah, so these guys know who they are and don't be expecting fucking high end years out of them. Getting a quarterback too.
if you are, you're a little off.
Yeah.
So originally we were talking, we were like, yeah, we're just going to do 24. And we both ended up just doing all 32.
Yeah, we do. One guy I have in this tier that I do want to touch on a little bit is Russ.
Sure, because I have him a tier lower.
Yeah, and we actually brought him up a little bit because of having that shit year last year. And it's one of those ones where you got to be like, it's hard not to just say that's a wash year. Nathaniel Hackett was not cut out to be a fucking head coach. That offense was piss fucking poor. I've seen better offenses ran on high school teams. So now, boom, in comes Sean Payton. And Sean Payton has polished turds and made them look like gold in the past. And I have a tough time thinking he can't do that here. They have all the talent in the fucking world on that team. Cortland Sutton has done it in the past. Jerry Jeudy has flashed in the past. Poor Tim Patrick. We won't even talk about that. But it doesn't matter because they got a stable of third wide receivers in there because Peyton brought in 8 other fucking dudes, drafted Marvin Mims, all those guys.
Holloway,
good tight ends.
Yep.
Good tight ends.
Troutman.
Yeah, Javonte Williams is on his way back, it looks like. I'm still harboring back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm real hesitant on that.
That's still going to be 3-4 weeks before we even really know how good he is. So P. Ryan's probably going to get good running there.
I've got too many shares of P. Ryan to be comfortable.
There's a lot of weapons on this offense. A lot of weapons on this offense, and the defense is decent. And Sean Payton is going to implement his shit, and Russ is going to have an efficient year this year. I don't think it's going to be like a full comeback year.
I think it comes down to Russ.
Yeah, but I'd still.
If he's washed, he's washed. If
I don't
he
even
can't make those decisions. If he can't do that, then we're going to see Russ out by mid-year.
But that's what I'm saying is his last year in Seattle, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's so much shit that goes on. It's not like he just went from Seattle and then goes to Denver and all of a sudden forgets how to play football. And even if he still physically is having trouble doing it, it didn't show last year. Yeah. Right. Like we saw Peyton Manning.
Well, at the end of the year, we actually saw Russ start to take little hold. So
we saw Peyton Manning physically fall off. He could not throw a ball 25 yards down the fucking field.
Right? Wounded duck.
We saw it. And you could see last year in Russ that he physically he is still there. Mentally could be a big question, but I think Sean Payton, that's the big thing, is that Sean Payton comes in, he's the new psychiatrist for Russ, sits him on the fucking couch and says, hey, look, dude, you're not that fucking cool. Stop having your fucking posse come into the fucking practices. That shit's over with. We're going to get back to just playing football. And I think that, yes, I think Russ has taken a step back. He's not the elite player he was in the past. But he is going to be an efficient quarterback too for you if you're making drafts in single QBs and he's your quarterback too, because you were like, I'm going to take one of these other guys, like what we're talking about, like Cousins or Trevor or something like that, and you want to make sure you back him up. Russ is a really good guy, I think, this year to do that.
Yeah. I think he's good. Just doesn't make that threshold for me. I think he just drops that little bit here.
He could be, dude. There's writing on the wall that ends him as a quarterback 1 this year. Not overall, just in the top 12 quarterbacks, and it could be surprising.
And the guy that I put in this tier was Stafford. Coming back from everything, I think he's got enough to be, top 15 quarterback. Not quite the top, 12, but he's got Cup. He's got all his other garbage weapons that he's got there, and that's just going to be enough to keep him in that talk.
Yeah, this is what concerns me, and I actually have him down a tier. Got him in the 5th tier. And that'll lead us right into this. So what a transition. So tier 5, I've got Stafford there.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. You just mentioned it. All those garbage weapons and Cup, who's already hurt. A hamstring that's got him out for a few weeks. Hamstrings linger. It's concerning because he only has Cooper Cup. Right? That's it. And I don't think Matt Stafford without an elite wide receiver is a guy that is going to come out and just pick a team apart. He is not Tom Brady. You cannot throw him out there with the likes of horseshit 7th round wide receivers, and he's still going to win you Super Bowls. Stafford needs talent around him, and if Cup's out, you got to draw questions on how well Stafford can navigate that offense with guys like Van Jefferson and Tyler Higbee
and Puka Nacua and whoever else that they got. Tutu,
Cam Akers,
Puka and Tutu.
Cooper Cup is out. Cam Akers is going to run the ball 40 times a game. So then in this tier, we both have A-Rich, Jordan Love, and Kenny Pickett.
Well, I think A-Rich, yes, we see rushing upside. We're based this on 6 point per passing touchdown. So his rushing upside is really limited in the 6 point per passing touchdown. So that's why he dropped so far for us. We're still hopeful that he gets all this huge rush amount
What's
and
this
gets
weed
up
stuff? You
there.
got a turd in your pocket?
Yeah, Mr. Tanky. We as the fantasy community, I guess, jerk. But that's where he's
Hopeful
just
bastards.
that's where he's just not getting into that upper tiers because you have to rely on that rushing upside because we're not seeing him being a prolific passer and getting 4,000 yards or 3,500 or even 3,000 this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rookie quarterback. He's gonna suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got good talent around him. Pittman.
He does. Yeah.
Pittman's a great number one for him. Alex Pierce coming in his second year. Josh Downs is a rookie. They got like 8 fucking tight ends on that goddamn team every year. The Jonathan Taylor news freaks me the fuck out because he needs Jonathan Taylor to be successful. If he doesn't have Jonathan Taylor, his kid's going to run for his life all fucking year.
Better hope Kareem Hunt signs there then.
They need to do fucking something to help this guy out because there's not enough around him to.
And that offensive line is getting old.
Yeah, the O-line is definitely falling off. If you're not keeping up with it, Indy's offensive line isn't good anymore. It's average at best. So I'm going to be concerned about him throwing the football. I feel like this is a situation where think about Trey Lance when he came in, was a rookie, and he filled in for Jimmy Garoppolo a couple of games, and it was ugly, right? It was ugly. It was limited plays. He was relying on athleticism a lot.
The only thing that kept him in was rushing.
Yeah, and even then, it wasn't a lot of rushing because it's not efficient. He's overmatched, overwhelmed, and I feel like that's what you're going to get with A-Rich this year.
And they're playing against – well, that's the difference, too, of going to college to the NFL. Like, college, you're playing against, men-ish. But the NFL are grown-ass men that just play football, and that's what their job is. So you're going up against a different level of competition than college.
Yeah, everybody in the NFL is fast. Not everybody in college is fast.
Yeah.
So his athleticism, he's still a fucking athletic freak. Like, don't get me wrong. This kid's got a chance.
But it's definitely a level adjustment there.
Yeah, he could do what Justin Fields did last year. I mean, he could have 1,200 yards rushing and 2,000 yards passing and be the only guy scoring touchdowns on that team and end up as QB9. Sure. But I don't fucking see it happening. I mean, he's a year or two away from getting to that point.
Yeah.
And I think, on pure athleticism, if you're dealing with injuries and he's on the waiver wire, I'd go get him and just fucking when he plays shitty defenses, put him in there and see what happens. I mean, fuck. But he's definitely not somebody that like I'm drafting as this is a guy that's going to be a starter for me, not in redrafts.
All right. So the rest of tier 5 here, you have Jordan Love and Pickett that we both have the same. For me, tier 5 is a huge tier, and then I have a tier 6, which is kind of everybody else. But the rest, let's talk a little bit about Jordan Love and what we're seeing here to keep him in tier 5.
I think all these guys are in the same boat. Like, you're not really fucking sure, right? They've flashed before, like A-Rich has flashed in college, looked really good. Looks like he's going to translate fantasy-wise. I have Stafford in tier 5, same thing. He's done it in the past. Cooper Cup plays. He's going to give you a good season. Jordan Love, we have no fucking clue. No clue. Like, we've seen him play in spot starts here and there. I think he's only had one really fucking decent game.
Most of them were finishing games.
Exactly. So we don't really know. And Mike LaFleur, we don't know how he's going to adapt the offense now that Aaron Rodgers isn't there. Does anything change? Are they going to run the same types of route combinations? Are they going to run the ball more? Is it going to be more centered around Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon?
And just because Jordan Love started the game for Green Bay in preseason doesn't mean that's what he's going to be in the season. I had to talk about that earlier. Well, he started in yesterday.
Yeah.
Jordan Love started the preseason game.
Right.
But that's not what we're going to see in the offense week 1 of the NFL.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The offense. I see what you're saying. The offense. You're saying the offensive plays you saw.
Yeah, what they ran and how they ran it. That's not going to be what we see in the week 1.
Yeah, but we did get a good look. Like I said, pay attention. This is a word of advice you've gotten this far in the video. Look at snap counts in preseason. Yeah. You want to see who was out there with Jordan Love and taking into account shit like Christian Watson. I don't think even fucking played.
Yeah, he did.
So, he did, and he didn't have any fucking catches. Nothing. Target.
Yeah, he had targets.
Christian Watson. Overrated. Anyway, and then this leads, but it's same story too for Pickett. We talk about both these guys the same thing. Like they both have
I
good
still
talent.
like Pickett, but the expectation.
Yeah, they both have good talent around them. I don't, but they're guys you're not draft. Like these are guys if you're looking for a backup quarterback in your drafts, this is the guy. Like okay, I already have this is my starter, and I'm gonna go grab one of these guys just in case they fucking pop off because they have the talent around them. They've been there, they've done it. Pickens a first round draft pick. Jordan Love's a first round draft pick. Like these guys could be quarterback twos, but man, I wouldn't fucking rely on it. That's where they're so far down on these tiers.
To me, this like 5, what you have as 5 and 6 are guys that like you are backing up an elite quarterback. So you got Russ or Josh Allen, and you want a safety net of having a second quarterback. These are probably the guys that you're grabbing, just because they're good. You buy the bye week, and then you could dump them, and you're not going to feel bad.
Yeah, if one of these guys down here, once I've gotten into tier 5, 6, and 7, I have 7, you got 6. Once I get down into here, though, these are guys like, shit, I need a starter. And then I'm going to go look. And here's the group. Okay, here's the groups I'm picking out of. Who do I like more? Pickett, though, to me, Pickett does have potential. Like, George Pickens is showing out. And Deontay Johnson's a stud. Freiermuth, stud. Najee, stud. They add a little bit finally to the offensive line to help that out. Like, that could be a really, like, a sneaky, good statistical offense.
And that AFC North is always just like punch you in the mouth, run it, throw it, pass it, defense. Like it's just always good show. So these guys will show up. It's just, are we going to get, what they had with like Roethlisberger and be able to get, Pickett to that level? Or is he just going to be kind of a middling quarterback and just be effective?
Yeah. I think he's Derek Carr, not better than Roethlisberger.
Right.
Yeah. Faux show. All right. So, tier 6.
Tier 6.
Tier 6.
The only one that we have the same in here is Ritter.
Yeah.
For me, I just kind of lumped all of these guys together because it's the who's left / I'm really not putting my trust in these guys for a start unless it's an absolute desperate bye week or I've completely shit the bed and I need a desperate quarterback 2 to back up the other quarterback that I picked already.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the same outlook on it. We had Ritter the same because I think, and I could even put Ritter in the tier up. I think he's kind of in the same boat. I mean, he's got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan. He's got plenty of talent around him. I just don't think the offense is going to suit a quarterback being a guy that you're going to be a perennial star. Perennial. I keep wanting to use that word because it's so smart sounding. He's not going to be a guy that you're like, this is my weekly starter.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't think the offense is going to be around that. You're going to be heavy Bijan, heavy play action, Pitts, and
he's almost essentially a rookie still. I mean, he barely got any play time.
Yeah, and Pitts and London, they're going to see that target share is going to be very condensed down to those two guys and Bijan out of the backfield. But still hard for me to put him up in anything else. Like I don't really want to put him that much higher than here or tier 5 because of the fact that like you don't fucking know. Right? You don't want to fucking rely on him. And then sort of the same thing here, like Tannehill. I think Tannehill could be the same boat, like getting D-Hop, but I really think that offense is on the down trend and not on the uptrend. I think adding D-Hop was like a Hail Mary. Yeah, it was a Hail Mary. Like, fuck, we need something, and they add him, and it's like, it's a waste because it's not, I don't think it's going to pan out to be shit.
Well, and you also look at what Tannehill has. He's got Levis behind him. He's got Willis. Like, they're ready to move on. They're getting younger quarterbacks in to, see the next step beyond Tannehill.
They need to do, like, a harder investment, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these second round, and, when did Willis went? Like a 5th or some shit, 4th. I don't fucking even remember now. It was late. But they still haven't invested. Like, they're hoping to catch fire with like a Russ pick, like we picked the guy in the 4th round and he pans out to be a superstar, and that doesn't always work out that well. I've got Jimmy G in here too because I think it's the same thing. He's like a serviceable starter with talent around him. Probably going to put up some points for you, but it's more like my fucking number 1 quarterback just got hurt and I need a backup or a guy to weekly start, spot start. Jimmy G is the same, that guy. And I have Lance and Purdy in here because we don't know who the fuck the starter is going to be.
Yeah, I have it just slashed because I have him as 1 quarterback. Same with Taylor Heineke, Desmond Ritter, Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett. Like, to me, that's the 1 quarterback grouping. because you don't know who's going to really start, or if they're going to start for long, or how long they're going to start. So
Yeah. And these again, like all these guys, I could have just made one fucking tier 5 because I think all these guys are in the same boat. Like, so much talent around them, but so many questions on them as a quarterback. Trey has, I think, more questions around him than Purdy does right now just because of what they put on in film. But just the investment that the 49ers have in Trey Lance, that's so much they paid to get him that I find it hard that they just say, we're not going to give you the opportunity to showcase yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to up his trade value and they are full sold on Purdy. But it's either one of these guys, if they're the quarterback, I see them being like a quarterback 2. I don't see them like setting the world on fire and jumping up there and being higher end. There's just that offense is too geared around running the football, and it's not geared around a lot of throwing touchdowns.
It's going to have a couple touchdowns, and it's not going to be super amount of yardage that keeps them in the quarterback 2 range.
Well, yeah, as far as like throwing out, and this could be different because adding C-Mac last year in the middle of the season kind of changed that around a little bit because they were dumping off more to him, and a lot of the motions we were doing were motioning. I'm a Niner fan, of course, as I just said we. A lot of the motions they were doing with C-Mac were to also free up a wide receiver on the backside for the same kinds of things, just quick, easy throws. But you're relying on Yak in that offense, and if the receivers aren't getting yardage after the play and scoring touchdowns after that play, it's not that many times that this offense is geared around just going after the end zone aggressively. A lot of it is getting a guy open in space and letting him run there. So that limits him a little bit.
And I think you have a very big difference of quarterback between Purdy and Lance. Purdy's very much a pocket passer, fits what the Niners are doing. Get a guy in space, get him the ball, and let him work. Where Lance is a little more mobile, a little more deep ball type focused guy. And I just don't see them working out the same. So it's going to come down to whether Lance can fit the structure as well.
Yeah, but I think too a lot of that, when those players are drawn up, one thing that's with Kyle Shanahan's offense, it's a lot like a Bill Walsh offense, and that it's designed to open a guy up.
Yeah.
And so it's more of like a 1-2 to check down
reads.
Yeah, there's not a lot of 3 reads in it. And I just think it's the level of aggression, and that was one of the things that Shanahan liked about Lance was that he showed more aggression via what Jimmy Garoppolo was doing. But I think it was a difference in aggression, like you're saying. Like Lance was going deep for the ball rather than like the aggression being, instead of throwing the 30-yard 9 route, throw the 15-yard bend route that the guy has 20 yards of running. And that's where Purdy kind of separated himself in play. But also it's really hard to say what Lance is because we haven't
really seen. You got to see him play in a monsoon game.
Yeah.
And then break his freaking ankle.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then I tiered out to a bottom tier. These are guys like I don't even want to fucking touch these dudes.
Right, and that's kind of what I put as my tier 6.
Yeah.
The Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, which that looked rough yesterday or the other day. That was almost sickening. Mac Jones, the Colt McCoy, Kyler Murray, kind of in there.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield, the Tampa situation.
You don't get to do that shit, homie.
Still a fan, just a quiet one right now.
Yeah. These are all guys like, okay, again, I don't really want to touch these guys, but to pick through some of them and be like, hey, look, these are guys that
serviceable.
Yeah,
there's gotta be some serviceable.
They're a fucking starting quarterback in the NFL. Like you're going to be able to put them in and get points from them. The guys, like if I got this fucked in a draft, or even in this scenario where you like picked Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, a top quarterback, right? You wasted a top pick on one of your quarterbacks, and you have a transaction limit in your league, so you need a second quarterback. One guy that's like, this dude needs to fill in for me on a bye week. The guys that I would be targeting are the guys that I know by week 10 are still probably going to have a job. Yeah. So that's like Mac Jones. It's like Mac Jones.
Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I mean, those guys are probably going to have the job. They're 1-2 draft picks. Unless they completely shit the bed or they're injured, they're likely going to be in there for the rough ride of their rookie year.
Yeah, and you're going to get points from them. But the dudes, like, if I'm drafting, I'm saying in a transaction limit, you're probably right. Those 3 guys, because they're probably going to be starters week 10. Mm-hmm. Now, if I don't have a transaction limit and I can just fucking take a shot at it, I got like Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields in the 5th, and I need to back those guys up, any of them are fine by me. Any of them, because you're going to end up picking up the other guy that somebody else didn't get off the waivers anyway. But I would rather target guys like Sam Howell and, to be honest with you, Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Like, he's an efficient guy. I've used him.
And he's ran that offense.
Yeah, and he's staying in the offense, that he knows the offense from the new regime. And I think he's actually going to end up being the starting quarterback for the Cardinals for most of the year. I don't see Kyler making a strong push to come back, and the team's going to be dog shit by the time he's ready to come back. And so I don't know. McCoy could be the starter all year. Howell's intriguing. We've talked about Howell.
A little bit of rushing upside. But...
yeah, we've talked about how he's intriguing, but I think Brissett is hotter on his heels than people are giving it credit. Ron Rivera is not a young fucking coach that is going to have time to find his guy. Ron Rivera is.
I think his leash is getting shorter too.
So. Yeah, he's been in Washington long enough that he should have had this fucking figured out by now. And so I think the leash on Howell is short, along with Ron Rivera's. And if it gets ugly, Brissett steps in. I mean, if they're 0-2 and looking ugly, Brissett could be the starter by week 3, if not week 1.
I think they go 0-3, 0-4. Like, you might be seeing Enemy as the coach.
Ooh. Hey, that's actually fun. Could happen. Yeah. I like how you also have on your tier 6, you have Heineke and Ritter / that to me,
that's another one of those, like, if Ritter isn't just performing, like, yeah, he had some good efficiency rates in his passing last year, but if he's just not getting it done, they're going to bring in the vet to just run the offense, because it doesn't need much to run. You got 2 top targets that are, good athletic guys that can be possession catchers, and a decent running back room, not just Bijan, but Algier was okay enough to be efficient.
Yeah, you could see that. We've talked about it before, that if that team is 500 or a game under, and that division is the same, everybody in it.
Yeah.
Do they keep riding Ritter and just say, let's see what can happen, or do they realize, like, hey, motherfucker, we can make the playoffs?
Or ride Ritter into a top pick next year. That's all possibility. It's all possibility.
I never listen to the fucking they're tanking for this shit. Like,
I don't believe that they're tank. I think they still try to. I mean, it's an NFL team. You're paying millions of dollars to all of these athletes to try to win.
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to do.
Too many times we have seen teams fuck up and win a game. Oh, they won and lost such and such. The fuck they did. Like, they went out there to win a football game. They don't give a fuck about the draft. They don't give a shit about any of that. None of these teams are looking that fucking far ahead of it.
Coming from like our high school team that was 0 and whatever for so many years, and then our senior year we came out to be the road builders, to get that back on track, to get some wins. 1 win was huge. We had 2 wins. That was phenomenal. Like, we started getting that in there, and it completely changed the culture of what was going on there.
Yeah.
So I don't care what people say about tanking. Win equals some momentum.
Yeah, these guys ain't fucking tanking. Pipe dreams.
So we have reached through all of our quarterback tiers.
That's all 32 teams.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. This has to work. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you're getting all of the videos that we're putting out there. Make sure to hit all notifications button. That way you're making sure you're getting a notification every time we put a video out there. If you like the video, make sure to hit the like and keep following up with us. We are going to ball into this coming up year. It's going to get hot and heavy. We're now starting to get our shit together. I think we got a little bit of time, so we can put some stuff into this. Keep following in for Tank. He's putting out the 2 sides of the coin video.
Rashad White coming out next.
Ooh, Rashad White. I only got 1 side of the coin. Fuck that guy. So, as always, my friends, be like water, and we will see you next time. Peace.